shows off your pretty face and lights your eyes and accentuates all those things you can't see in yourself. I'm the type of guy who never wins. I've come close but never been. You can see that in me. I could say you look so beautiful tonight, but you turn away with your awkward eyes. You turn away as you'd say, oh please don't say that. And in that moment my whole world collapsed. Fine, I'll never say you're beautiful again. Look away, I'll just pretend I don't notice. Oh, when you're sad, look at me and I swear I'll look away. God, it hurts to hurt this way. I want these feelings to go, but I want you to stay. And I remember nights when our lips collide, with fireworks the sky'd ignite. You felt so safe in my arms, but time has changed and time will tell. And yeah, I know the song, it hurts like hell, but goes to show that's how I felt this past year. Your phone rings on your caller ID. So sorry to disappoint you, but it's just me. Fine, I'll never say you're beautiful again. Look away, I'll just pretend I don't notice. Oh, when you're sad, look at me and I swear I'll look away. God, it hurts to hurt this way. I want these feelings to go, but I want you to stay until I find someone who will help me forget you. It will chase these feelings away, and we'll make sure that they never come back again. But until then, I'll say the only good.
Hello, there we are. I think you can hear me now. Greetings and welcome to We Win with Teeuwen. This is the name of my show. My name is Justin Teeuwen, and I'm here to tell you Happy Monday. So I wrote this little phrase a long time ago. Thought I'd share it with you. Every morning you wake up and it's a Monday. I treat every day like it's a Saturday, every afternoon like it's a Sunday, and every evening like it's a Friday. As you can see by today's show and the color of my suit, today is going to be a Funday Monday. And we have a lot of really good stuff to cover here, a lot of good content. I'm really excited to share that with you. So, welcome. This is show number 101, and it's going to be an exciting show. It's my first one, obviously, and I'm really happy to see you all here and to share what I think of life. To tell you a little bit about the show, do a little brief introduction into what We Win with Teeuwen is all about. Essentially, I'm here to talk to you about positivity, about how to make your life into something fantastic and wonderful. We're going to look into ideas of success and happiness and positivity, and we're going to focus on all of that content throughout the duration of the show, however long we end up broadcasting for. It'll run 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me see here. So, the tagline that I'm looking for on Mondays is very simple. Life has enough worries for us, and it is time for you to enjoy. So, let's find some joy today. There is a word of the day today. I'm going to switch over here. Oh, a little bit of a sneak preview there. There we are. Today's word of the day is procrastination. I'm sure a lot of you have felt procrastination. In fact, you may be procrastinating watching this show, which would be a good thing to do, procrastinating with this show. So if you are procrastinating with this show, by the end, I'm sure you'll feel a little different about it. But the word of the week is procrastination. The word of the week comes from the Latin word procrastinatio. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. What's interesting is that our English word has its origins all the way back into the Latin, which the Latin meaning is a putting off from day to day. Pro means forward. And crastinus, crastinus means belonging to tomorrow. So we take something from today and we put it forward to belonging to tomorrow. And I find that very interesting, that this concept of procrastination, if it has its roots in Latin, must be at least 2,000 years old. So 2,000 years ago, someone was sitting around saying, boy, I think I'm going to put this to tomorrow. And they found a way to express that in the form of a word. One of my favorite hobbies is looking up the history of words and the etymology of them. And if you're interested, and in the Oxford, England area, particularly the University of Oxford, England, there is a conference being held on procrastination on July 2nd of this year, if my sources are correct. I wonder if I got that website here. Let's have a look. Looks like I didn't save it. That's okay. From what my research shows, there is a whole conference on procrastination, and they're going to look into the history of procrastination, cultural references to procrastination, where it comes from, and what are the solutions? How do we overcome this ancient beast that it seems to be a constant part of our lives and part of where we are with ourselves? So that's something that you're going to look forward to. And in the future, I will be doing a future show all dedicated to procrastination, but I just thought I'd give you a little bit of food for thought about what procrastination is all about. So, we're going to look at some of the things of the day. Now, in our Monday shows, I like to do what's called a kind deed of the week. Now, featuring a kind deed of the week, I'm going to ask for submissions from viewers like yourself to show me something kind that you did for someone else. It could be a picture, it could be a video of you doing the kind deed, preferably, or it would be maybe a testimonial. You can also send it in the form of email. If video isn't your thing, and I'll read all about your kind deeds to the world. I think it's important that we take time to reflect on the kindness that is out there. There's all sorts of good deeds and good acts that are being done, and it's really important that we take time to acknowledge those good deeds. So I'm going to start with a little story. We got to go back. It was 13 years ago. And I was on my own, living with my folks, and I'd been walking home. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but when I was walking home, I'd left my pencil case somewhere. By the time I got home, I was sitting around and, getting ready to do my homework, as I was as a, 16-year-old young man, and we got a phone call. A gentleman had found my pencil case. Well, how on earth did he find my pencil case? Well, this is what he did. He found the pencil case, he looked inside, and he saw my name, Justin Teeuwen. He then wanted to find its owner, so he went into the phone book, and he looked up the last name, Teeuwen. Now, the first Teeuwen in the phone book was my uncle, the late John Teeuwen, and he called their home. My uncle said, no, Justin is actually with my father, who is Michael Teeuwen. And so they then proceeded to call the second number where they reached my family's home. And when they reached us, they found out our address and brought me the pencil case. I was very grateful because, for one, I needed the pencil case to get my homework done. It had a calculator in it, maybe only worth $15 or something like that. Nothing super expensive, but at the same time not inexpensive either. And I think what touched me about the whole experience was the effort. They had gone through this, to me, extreme diligence of almost detective work, finding who I was, where, and then asking politely if they could bring me back what was mine. And so I don't remember the gentleman's name who brought it. I don't know who you are, but I just want to tell you that it's been 13 years since you did that for me, and I am extremely, extremely grateful for what you've done. So it really made my day, and here I am 13 years later, still thinking and remembering how awesome it was that somebody could look me up and bring me something that I'd lost. So thanks to him. If any of you have stories or comments or input at any time, by the way, you can always send an email to the show's email, wewin@timeconsultinginc.com. I'll be mentioning that again a few times throughout the show. I might even have it in writing for you near the end. wewin@timeconsultinginc.com. And I'd love to hear your stories of nice things people have done for you. Perhaps there's something where someone returned something to you. Or perhaps there's a really kind act that somebody did where a friend was telling me of a time she was going through a Tim Hortons drive-thru, and the person behind them, Tim Hortons is a coffee shop, by the way, for my international viewers. Somebody was passing through as they were passing through the drive-thru for their Tim Hortons coffee, the attendant said, "Your coffee has been paid for by the car behind you." And I thought, wow, that's such an awesome thing to do for someone. So just some other really cool ideas of kind deeds. So I'm going to take a look at my show notes here. The next segment of the show, I'm going to discuss in the positive news. So in the positive news specifically refers to what's going on in the world and specifically what positive things are going on in the world. So I'm going to highlight a few interesting stories that I discovered. I'm not sure if you're aware, but in Thailand, there was a bit of a coup, and the military overthrew the current government. What is interesting is an article I stumbled upon where the Thailand military leaders are launching a happiness campaign. So that's kind of interesting. What their goal is, the military junta seized power, and their goal was to launch a campaign to restore happiness to the people. Their aim was to provide, free concerts, free food, alluring female dancers in suggestive camouflage miniskirts. That's interesting. And even the chance to pet horses in downtown Bangkok. Having visited Thailand myself, actually, about 5 months ago now it would be, I can tell you that they're an extremely peaceful people. And so it's difficult to extract all of the news of a situation. But it seems that right now the main interest in Thailand is to bring about a sense of happiness and peace. They're probably, from my perspective, aiming to obtain some goodwill and some positive favor from the people for whom they are representing. So I thought that was an interesting article that I stumbled upon as I was looking. Let's look at the next article here. Here we are. A boy's mysterious infection was cured after DNA sequencing. So what happened is this boy contracted some particular bacterial illness, and it was in the New England Journal of Medicine that this child was tested and cured by a new sequencing technique. What did they do here? Circulating the boy's spinal fluid gave up the culprit. It was leptospirosis, a bacterial disease, and it was probably contracted when he went swimming on a trip to Puerto Rico. Now, what's interesting, as I read this article, and I'm just summarizing a few of the highlights, they estimate that the cost of hospitalization for the boy was approximately $250,000. And about $30,000 of that was spent on misdiagnosis. With this genetic sequencing technique, they were able to exactly determine what it was the boy had, and was able to use that once they diagnosed him to create a cure. So I thought that was kind of cool. Science and technology, we hear some negativity about it, but here was an instance where it actually served to save someone's life, which is a really amazing thing. Got another one here for you. Some more pick-me-ups. Here we are. So, in the United States, there was an HIV cure that was hoped for a second child. This was the second time that they've been able to enact a cure for a child who was suffering from HIV at birth. What they were able to do is to begin administering treatment within 4 hours of birth. It was a baby girl born in suburban Los Angeles, I guess it would have been last April. And then they finally released the details of the case to the public more recently. What they did is they modified genes in the blood cells of a dozen adults to help them resist HIV. That's another AIDS-related development. So they are currently working towards a cure, but what's interesting is after administering these treatments, the infant was able to go into remission of HIV, which is quite fascinating considering the nature of HIV and how it all works. There was one done in a first child here, and it was a Mississippi girl who was treated until she was 18 months old. 10 months later, when they found this child again, there was no sign of HIV. So perhaps they've been able to work towards some positive results over in that regard. And the last story that I have, and I think it's a pretty good one, it's about a Vancouver couple. Let's see here. Nope, not that one. Seems I may have lost my notes on that one. Well, I'll summarize it for you anyway. I made some other notes. A couple was driving in a car when they stumbled upon a dust cloud, and it turns out that a car had been flipped over. When they went to inspect the vehicle, there was obviously damage to the vehicle and people inside. The gentleman, he called 911 while the woman went to inspect the vehicle a little closer. Although 911 told them to stay away from the vehicle, they noticed that it was going to catch on fire. The gentleman, who was a volunteer firefighter from New Zealand, he went in to help the family out. A few other people also came from as they were driving, they saw people pulled over, and they also joined in the help. And they were able to extract the family. One gentleman had a fire extinguisher and was able to pull the family out while administering the fire extinguisher, which bought them a few extra minutes. And the entire family was saved. So it was really interesting because we've seen people on the side of the road as we're driving, as we're traveling around, and here we see a good Samaritan act that came through and saved some people's lives. One of the reasons that I feel it's important to go into the positive news, and a little reflection I wanted to give you as I talk about this portion of the show, it was, for me, rather difficult, rather trying to go through and actually see positive news. I found a lot of negative news, a lot of news that is aimed to create fear or distrust or anger or sadness, and not a lot of news that's aiming towards creating positive space. And part of that may be because of what we're interested in. Part of that may be because of what's available or what someone else wants us to be interested in. There are always other agendas to consider. I know for myself, I'm very interested in the positive news. If you have positive news stories that you want me to share with others, I'm certainly happy to do so. Every Monday, I'll be doing News of the Week, and we'll talk about some positive news of things that have occurred and what's the good in those stories. That's what I'm really looking for. Where is the good in the world? And let's start talking about that. Because I believe once we get a dialogue that discusses the positive news, we will then have an opportunity to look at life in a more positive way. I'm going to take a small break right now. Before I take the break, I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it after. I'll do it after the break. So we're going to take a small break right now. I'm going to put on that song that you were listening to, as well as another one. The song you were listening to is, let's have a look here for those who were interested. Oh, it seems I closed it. It's From a Liar to a Gem by Walter Sanko. And, oops, let's go back to there. Now you can see me again. There we are. That was From a Liar to a Gem by Walter Sanko. He's an accomplished musician, one of my really close friends, and I'm really excited to share his work with you in the format of my show. So I'm going to put the song back on as to where it was. Let's see, got a commercial here. Gotta love those commercials. 3, 2, 1. So we're going to take a small break, and then we'll come back for the second part of our show. Let's see here. There it is. Okay, be right back. Enjoy.
Say you're beautiful again. I'll just pretend I don't notice when you're sad.
Okay, welcome back. Short little break there as I was getting myself a nice little glass of water. Today's show is brought to you by the letter P and the number 42. And this was always one of my favorite parts of watching Sesame Street as a child, was thinking of what the letter of the day or what the number of the day was. And the letter P is interesting. It has its origins, its shape, in the Greek letter rho, which is actually associated with the letter R today. However, it gets its sound from the Greek letter pi. It's not to be confused with pie that you eat, but more pi like this, which is 3.1415926, so on, so on. I at one point had this thing memorized up to 100 digits. That's actually, I don't mind telling this because it's kind of a funny story, and it's Monday, so why not have some fun? I remember that one of the first times I wanted to challenge somebody on what it meant to, is something possible? And so this television show, I was just walking by as I was getting ready for school. I was maybe 15 at the time. And so the television show said you could memorize 100 digits in 7 minutes. I said, 100 digits in 7 minutes? Are you kidding? How could you do that? And they explained the technique. You break it into 10-digit chunks and you memorize the chunks in order. So I then sat down and said, well, what's a really long number that I know? Pi. I took 100 digits and started researching it and memorizing it. Turns out I had it memorized in about 4 or 5 minutes, if I recall. Although I'm not able to perform it at this time, maybe I'll practice and do it on a later show. What's interesting is I doubted it, and yet I wanted to try it. I wanted to do it and see if it was possible. And when it was, I was like, wow, I did it in about half the time. 7 minutes must have been maybe over expectation. So then I started to research it. And at the time, I don't know what it is now. That might be a fun little thing to quickly look up. A guy actually is in the World Book of Records for memorizing. Oh, what's happening here? There we are. Memorizing the length of pi. So let's see. World record memorizing pi. It is 67,890 digits by Lu Chao. That's the current record holder, and he set it on November 20th of 2005. I believe the gentleman that I'm referring to had it somewhere around 1,000 and then over 10,000, but I don't seem to find it right now. So there you are, 67,890 digits by, Chao Lu of China, and that was November 2005. So there you are. PiWorldRankingList.com. Who would have known? Only that and more that you will find on a Funday Monday. And now let's take a look at the number of the day. The number of the day. I believe we'll have to go back here. There we are. And I'll go to, nope. There it is. The number 42. The number 42 is a really special number to me. One of my really best friends growing up, he was in love with Douglas Adams. Douglas Adams is an amazing writer. I really enjoy his work. And in his work, he has Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I believe is the one that I'm referring to. In Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, spoiler alert, if you want to read the book and don't like spoilers, don't listen to what I'm saying, just like mute it or something. And then once I change slides, I'll be done talking about the number 42. So in Douglas Adams' book, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, he basically discusses the special importance of the number 42. Essentially, Earth is a giant machine created to provide the ultimate answer, the ultimate question to the ultimate answer. When asked the ultimate answer, they were told the ultimate answer is 42. However, they did not have the question. So a bunch of aliens got together and manufactured Earth, which was a giant machine. And just as the machine was about to spit out the answer to the question, what is the ultimate question, another race blew apart Earth to create a new pathway for the interstellar highway. I find the whole situation very comedic and comical. It always makes me laugh. And so 42 is the ultimate answer. And if you ever see that referred to in TV shows or in life, you'll now understand what they're referring to. So that is why today the number 42 is special. Hold on, I'm getting a note here. I see. It is my web man. He helps me make things. Okay. So, continuing with the show then. The last major segment of the show is regarding a positive piece in the news. And for those who are not Canadian, they may not have heard. For those who are Canadian, it's made quite national news. Last, I guess it would have been almost a week ago, a gentleman went and at point blank killed a number of loyal Canadian mounted police. 3 officers were passed away on the line of duty. And what I noticed in a lot of the news stories is they focused a lot on how they died and on the circumstances surrounding the gentleman, the alleged who committed the crime. I want to focus on the lives of these 3 men. These are the 3 Royal Canadian Mounted Police officers. And rather than focusing on how they died, I thought we instead would focus on how they lived. I remember hearing that as a quote in a movie once. Tell me not how he died, tell me how he lived. I believe it was from The Last Samurai. I heard that quote the first time. So, let's look at these 3 gentlemen. I believe, if I am reading this correctly, let me just make sure I get their names right. From left to right, you have Constable Fabrice George Gévaudan from France, Constable Douglas James Larche, he's in the middle, and Constable Dave Joseph Ross on the far right. And these were 3 remarkable individuals. Doug Larche saved Cody Furlot, 2 days old, about almost 6 years ago. He's about 6 years old now, Cody Furlot is. I might be mispronouncing his name, and I apologize. But in the news, I was able to discover that Doug had saved his life when he was only 2 days old. He'd performed CPR and was able to resuscitate him back to life. Now, I don't know many of the other circumstances, but I am sure that Doug Larche was able to perform that service and save many lives throughout his life as an officer. Dave Ross is known as having a love of life. He's our gentleman on the far right. And he met his wife at Bible study. The pastor at the local Baptist church where he attended gave a remarkable account of his life, and he is survived by his wife and his 2 sons, and they loved him deeply and were extremely saddened to have lost him. But they also reflected on how wonderful of a person he was and how he gave so much to others. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find as much about Constable Fabrice Gévaudan, other than that he was extremely passionate. He really invested a lot of himself into his work. He was originally from France and came over here and was eventually brought into the RCMP. I know that as a Canadian, I'm really grateful to the service that they've done for our country, and I think it's really important to focus on how they lived their lives. They lived their lives pursuing their passion. Many of them felt, from what I'm told and from the way that it's described of their lives, that this was a job that was a calling for them. They loved what they did, and they were successful at what they did. I think it would be important for us to take a moment of silence while we just give honor and respect to these fallen heroes. I think it's important to take a moment to think about the importance of life. You know, what happens in our everyday moments, and how can we enjoy each moment more? How can we live it to our maximum? You really never know when it's your time. Even though it could happen at any moment, it's important to take each moment and live presently, to really enjoy and appreciate those around you. I always take a personal moment myself to respect others and also to be grateful and thank them. I like to leave every note as a high note. That's how I like to leave things, because that way I know that I'm living my life to the maximum potential possible. So, the last segment of the show, I'm calling it's called a positive rephrase of the week. When you're in our everyday language vernacular, we have this habit of saying things in what I consider a negative way. So the phrase of the week is, I am sick. And when you think about I am sick, you have to first focus on the first two words, I am. Who are you? What are you? When you think of I am, it's like saying that you are defining the very essence of you. At the heart of you is what will follow. The verb to be or to exist is a very powerful word. So when you say the words I am, what follows is extremely important. And we're going to look at that. I am sick. So you feel a little sniffles coming on, or you feel joint pain, and you say, I am sick. You have now manifested and created a need for illness in your life, which is not actually what you want. What you really want is to say, I am healing. A lot of the time, symptoms are exactly that. They are emblematic or represent the act of healing. They represent that you are going to be okay. You will be better. Dr. Wayne Dyer takes this one step further, and he says, I am well. He affirms regularly that I am well, that he, in his essence, is wellness. And when you think about who you are and define it as being I am well, you are then able to further draw in the energy of wellness. Your mind starts actually healing yourself. I use this regularly. When I feel a cold coming on, I actually tell myself, I am well. I think yesterday I had a little bit of joint pain. And so what did I do? I said, man, I think I'm in need of a bath. Yeah, my body's telling me I need to take some me time. So I did. I took a nice bath. I laid down. I relaxed. And I enjoyed the feeling of my body shedding all of that negative energy. I enjoyed the release. And today I wake up and I feel great. I feel wonderful. No idea what it was. It was probably just my body reminding me how well I am. So take that and apply it to your life. When you find yourself this week, maybe yourself or those around you, and someone says, I am sick, provide them with an alternative. You could say, do you mean that you're healing? I am healing. Do you mean that you're well? Because I see you and you look like you're healing to me. You look like you're well. And if we can affirm these things to ourselves and to those around us, and we can commit to each other that we are well and we are healing, then how much more positive could your life be? I'm just going to take a moment now, and we're going to turn, this is the segment of the show where I will turn to any comments or questions that viewers may have when they are as a part of the show. So let's have a look here and see what anyone has to say. Just got to wait about 30 seconds for the show to catch up. Seems like right now there's not a lot of questions coming in. Ooh. Here's one from Dice Ward. How would I aim to make improvements in my life through your ideas? It's a really great question. So make improvements in life through your ideas. I think the most important improvement that I'm going to focus on today for you, Dice Ward, is to really apply the knowledge of the affirmations that you say. So when you say I am followed by a sentence, like you say I am sick. I know someone saying I am broke. I am poor. I am this. You are bringing that into your life. You are really making that a part of yourself. You're making that a part of you. So you should invite good things. I am awaiting future income. I am healing. I am waiting for my job call. It's really important to take the affirmation sentences, I am, and end them with a positive note. I would say that is the one really quick way that you're going to see positive results. Your mindset will change, those around you will change, and even how you feel about your current circumstances will change. We're going to now move on to the last part of the show. I'm just going to give you a little bit of update and news for what's coming next. Tomorrow's show is called The Scientific Laws of Success. So I'll be looking at examples of science and connecting them together. And that one is about friction. So you can tune into that. On Wednesday, we're going to talk about the expression live in the now. What does this mean, live in the now? And how does that all work? On Friday, I'm going to be co-hosting with a gentleman I met while traveling. His name is Tali Shapiro. And we're going to look at social media, developing intimacy using technology. Next Funday, Monday, if I could ask for submissions, I'd like you to send me a video or picture of you doing something nice for someone, specifically filling in someone else's parking. I'd like to get as many submissions as possible of people paying for other people's parking. Just go in and put quarters or loonies or dollar bills or wherever you are. Pay for someone else's parking. Take a picture, video of it. Tell me a story of someone who did that for you. That's what I'm looking for in next week's Funday Monday. And I will post your submissions in the show. You can also sign up for our newsletter at timeconsultinginc.com. Why don't I actually just go in here and write that out for you? So let me take a moment. There it is. Put in some text. Here we are. There we are. I'm a fast typer, so it works. It works for me. There we are. And we'll go to... Whoa, too big. All right. Still too big. There we are. That's more like it. And let's go to the presentation. There we are. timeconsultinginc.com/newsletter. That's more like it. And you can also email us at wewin@timeconsultinginc.com. So if you're looking to be a part of the show in any way, you want to contribute, you have some cool ideas, if you have a artist, musician that you think is really awesome and you want me to promote their work, I would love to do that. So by all means, take this opportunity to really showcase something positive. That's the goal of this program. Take the moment to show something positive in your life. So we win at timeconsultinginc.com and Time Consulting Inc. That's inc.com/newsletter to join our monthly newsletter that goes out, again, on the same theme of positivity. Now let's see. I believe we've reached the end of the program. Again, thank you for tuning in. If you are watching this in the archive, you didn't get to see all of the funny little mistakes I made, or maybe you did because I decided to include them anyway. Again, my name is Justin Teeuwen. I want to thank you for joining me as part of the program We Win with Teeuwen, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Ciao.
Walk through your favorite part of town. Nothing to do, just looking around, and I swear slow motion, snowflake on your cheek. Yeah, we're breathing out clouds. You look up at me and I swear I'm a sucker for those blue eyes. Oh, why do they close every time I try to make sense of all of this? The way your touch feels on my lips, and just say let's start again. Take my hand, let's just